This is South Jersey sports leader, 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig.
Let's go!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Friday edition on 97.3 ESPN. Phillies, well, they won an important game yesterday. I'm going to tell you more about why it was important coming up in just a bit. Plus, we will be joined by Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press to get into more about the NFL draft. He joins us coming up in less than 15 minutes from now. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Plus, don't forget your final opportunity to qualify for the Eagles draft party when the sounder goes off in about 35 minutes from now. But as I mentioned before we open up top of the show here, the Phillies got a win yesterday, and after rewatching the game last night and kind of listening to the conversation that was had throughout the day here on 97.3 ESPN, the more I'm convinced that last night might be a launching point for this team. That last night's game might have been a moment where this team might go on a winning streak. And here's why I say that. There were multiple moments in Thursday's game where the Phillies, they had to overcome. They had to be resilient. They had to survive something, right? You know, Sanchez, not a clean sheet. Yeah, he had 12 strikeouts, but he still had 2 earned runs counted against him. Alvarado gave up that home run in the 9th inning. Overcame. Got the save. There were multiple moments in the game last night where this team was resilient. That throw by Bryson Stott from his butt to first base, I thought was a moment where a guy could have said, you know what, I don't have a play here. I don't need to make this play. He did it anyway. The Phillies did an incredible job yesterday at staying in the fight, staying resilient, and seeing it through to the end. I am giving them credit for that. I know for some of you, they say they did their job. They're supposed to go out there and win. I'm not going to be that guy. Credit is due here. This is a team that has not been always resilient, that has not always been tough-minded, that has not always been fighting to the very end. So we have to give them credit when they do it right. We have to give them credit when they do find a way to get the job done. We have to give them credit for not just allowing the Giants to come back and win that game. Kerkering had an amazing inning in the game last night. You saw some great hitting in different points of the game by Bohm and Schwarber and others. And I'm not saying that yesterday's game is going to fix all the Phillies' problems, but I saw a lot of positives that came from that game. I saw a lot of positives in how they handled their business yesterday that I believe could parlay to their schedule for the rest of this month. Because, remember, I mentioned this earlier this week here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. They have a road trip coming up. And you want to get on a good, solid footing before you hit the road for this road trip. Because after the Marlins series this weekend, You have 3 in New York and then 3 in Chicago. That's 6 games where you need to get your head out of the sand and do better than you did the last road trip. The last road trip, you only won 2 of those 6 games. Frankly, a couple of those games, you looked lost, dazed, and confused. It's time to refocus. It's time to get your head on straight and go out there and get the job done. The Mets are ahead of you in the division. They're not going anywhere. The Chicago Cubs are a better team than most people realize. They are going to be tough. And by the way, if the schedule plays out the way it says right now, one of the pitchers you are going to face in Chicago next weekend is former Phillies prospect Ben Brown. You don't think that guy is going to be a little extra motivated to come get you on a Saturday afternoon in front of the Cub fans? That game yesterday might have been the game that this team needed more than anything to remind them who they are, to remind them, hey, we can win these games. Hey, we can do this. Hey, we are one of the best teams in baseball. And starting out slowly does not mean that you are not a good team. And I think that this Marlins series is going to be a great opportunity for them to finish the job this homestand. You win 2 out of 3 against Miami. That means that you came home and you won 4 out of 7 games. And now if you hit the road and you can find a way to win a couple games in New York, win a couple games in Chicago, now you're coming back home for another homestand in a position to be potentially in the lead in the National League East by the beginning of May. But it may have all started last night with this team's resilience. Jeff in Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973. The Phillies fever is back. I'm calling for the sweep of Miami, and I'm ready for the Mets. Ring the bell, says Jeff in Ocean City. Well, Jeff, I would only say this. Tonight's game is probably going to be the most interesting because Sandy Alcantara looks like the guy who was a Cy Young candidate years ago. If that guy comes out, it's going to be a long day. You should win the other 2 games, okay? Saturday, it's Taijuan Walker versus Cal Quantrill. And then Sunday is supposed to be Connor Gillespie. 2 pitchers who are not pitching well right now for Miami. So you can take advantage of them, but you got to find a way to get the game today. Because the game today is going to be the game that Miami's pointing to and saying, we can win that game. You got to rip that hope away from them today. All right, as promised, coming up next, the NFL draft is less than a week away. We'll get into all the details with Associated Press senior NFL reporter Rob Maaddi when he joins me next on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Why is Bennett Chevrolet the area's most popular dealer? It's simple. Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee prices, not a penny more. Plus, Bennett gives you all the rebates, saving you up to 20% on your new vehicle. And there's more. Bennett's got available 0% financing, saving you even more money. And there's never any hassles, no haggles, just the best prices you can find. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett's giving you a minimum $10,000 for any trade you can bring. Yes, a minimum 10 grand for any vehicle you can get here. And you guessed it, there's no hassles, no haggles, just a minimum 10 grand for any trade. Savings up to 20% on new vehicles. A minimum $10,000 for any trade towards any pre-owned in stock. And there's never any hassles, no haggles, and no negotiating needed with our non-commissioned sales team. They're paid on your satisfaction. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
If a carpet refresh is on your to-do list, now's the time to check it off, because right now you can take advantage of our Buy More, Save More savings. The more you buy, the more you save, up to 15% on select special order carpet purchases. Plus, the Home Depot Home Services can handle the installation for you. All that's left is to enjoy that stunning new carpet and step into softness. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. Offer valid April 17th through May 4th. Receive up to 15% off special select order carpet purchases. Minimum purchase required. Exclusions apply. For licenses, see homedepot.com/license numbers.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. The Flyers closed out their season Thursday, losing to Buffalo 5-4. They finish with 3 straight losses and end with 76 points. The Flyers have a 9.5% chance of landing the number 1 pick in the NHL draft. The Eagles gearing up for the NFL draft, which will be Thursday of next week. Coverage right here on 97.3 ESPN. Philadelphia's Super Bowl champions have the final pick in round 1 and have 4 picks in round number 5 with 8 selections overall. Baseball tonight, the Phillies home to begin a 3-game series with the Miami Marlins. Phillies beat San Francisco 6-4 Thursday, splitting the 4-game set. Christopher Sanchez had 12 strikeouts and Kyle Schwarber drove in 2. Zach Wheeler gets the start tonight for Philadelphia, 1-1 with an ERA of 4.07. Miami going with Sandy Alcantara. He is 2-0. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
Spring is cranking up in South Jersey, and so is the hiring game. The weather is warming up, and soon, business will be booming. If your business isn't ready, your competition will be. Whether you need a killer crew for the busy season or fresh stars to take your team to the next level, now is the time to make your move. Town Square Media can help you find the right people fast. No stress, no waiting, just the best hires for your business. To learn more, go to townsquaresouthjersey.com. That's townsquaresouthjersey.com.
Good afternoon with your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. You have outdoor plans tomorrow? Oh, it's going to be great. For the rest of the day today, some sunshine, partly cloudy sky tonight, a low 57. And then there's tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 81. Sunday, clouds with a high of 69. As of right now, back to work Monday, looks cloudy with a high of 60. Again, tomorrow, the best of the bunch. Enjoy it. Sunshine with a high of 81. That's your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Island Grill in Ocean City for just $25.
This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
You have to be patient, one. You have to allow things to come to you. Your chances that you're trading up into the top 10, top 15, top 20 are slim. That's hard to do. So you have to really kind of understand the strengths of the draft. You have to spend a lot of time being realistic about who do you think you have an opportunity to get so you can spend a lot of time with them.
That was Howie Roseman earlier this week. Says it's not realistic for the Eagles to be trading up into a top 10, top 15, that you have to be patient. Well, the question is, are Eagle fans going to be patient with Howie Roseman? They should be, We'll get into all that and more now. Rob Maaddi covers the NFL for the Associated Press. His latest mock draft is up at AP News, and he joins us now on 97.3 ESPN as we are less than a week from the start of the NFL draft. Rob, welcome in. How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Josh? I'm happy that I'm done mock drafting, so that's exciting. We finally get to see the real thing on coming up next Thursday and Friday. So I did 3. I had the Eagles taking Mike Green in the first one, Josh Simmons in the second one, and trading out of the first round and getting a first round pick next year in the third one. So I think I got a 33% chance to get one of those right. Actually, no, it's probably more minuscule than that. But
well, I think the fact that the Eagles have now done this, Rob, multiple times, right? This is now the third time Howie's the back end of the draft in the last 8 years. How much of that do you think factors in for Howie, where he's a guy who's saying, I just played the clip where he's like, hey, look, patience. We got to be patient. Well, they were patient last year, right? They let Quinyon Mitchell come to them. Is there a part of Howie that might say, my gut wants me to trade, but my experience says, let the draft come to me?
I think Howie's been through this long enough, and he's done this way before he was even in position to make actual picks. Like he told me long ago, many years ago, that he used to do mock drafts like as a kid, going way back to when he was a Ken O'Brien fan and a Jets fan growing up in Long Island. So he knows that you have to be patient to a point, because if you see the draft unfolding in a way where there's somebody that you have targeted that you feel strongly about, the Eagles are certainly aggressive enough. Howie's aggressive enough to make a trade to move up and land that guy. And he's done this in the past. But also at the same time, if you want to accumulate, they got a ton of picks coming next year too as well. But if you want to accumulate more draft picks and potentially maybe move up and have that opportunity to say you want to get into the top 15 next year or whatever it may be to accumulate more picks, I think he'll consider certainly all of those options too. I expect the Eagles to be wheelers and dealers because that's what Howie Roseman is. And that's what he does. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. He'll call GMs. And I think he may have reached that point, though, Josh, where people see his number coming in and they're afraid to get fleeced because he's done pretty well in recent years. So it's a great reputation to have. We're far removed now from Jalen Rieger and JJ Arcega-Whiteside. And I think there's a lot of in Howie we trust in Philly, and why not? That's 2 championships in the past 7 seasons, 8 years, and another Super Bowl appearance in the mix there too as well. So I'm confident that he'll be able to do what he needs to do. And yeah, when you're sitting at 32, you got to let it play out. But that's where you want to be every year. You want to be sitting at 32.
Now, I know that we are all in the season of deciphering what is information and misinformation. So I totally accept the fact that I am part of the guilty who are reading between the lines. So I come to you, Rob, because I wrote an article on 97.3 ESPN.com about the fact that one of the things I took from Howie's presser this week is that they are not going to be sexy. They are going trenches. They are going D-line. And Howie basically explained it in his presser this week, Rob. He was like, hey, look, the NFL, if you want to get pressure, you got to get up the middle. You can't just get on the edges. And to me, I think the Eagles walk out of this draft with multiple defensive linemen, not just because it's a deep class, but because I think Howie realizes that, guess what? At the end of the day, I got to pay Jalen Carter. I don't know who else I'm paying. So I need to beef up as much as possible because I've lost Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, and Brandon Graham for different reasons.
Yeah, and Jordan Davis you're going to have to pay too at some point. It is,
and you might not pay him.
You might want to, you might decide if you bring in somebody else. Certainly that's their MO, right? The Eagles build in the trenches. That won them the Super Bowl. They dominated the Chiefs at the line of scrimmage. And this is a draft that's deep on both sides, more so on the defensive side. And that's why I had them taking a defensive edge in the first mock, O lineman in the second mock, trading out in the third. I don't think they'll go any other. If they draft in the first, I don't think they'll go another route. I don't think they'll take one of this. There's 2 or 3 safeties who could potentially go in the first round. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they're going to go at a different route. That's where they go. That's where they look. And when you look at the offensive line too, I'm not sure how many more years Lane Johnson has at an elite level. Certainly he keeps himself in as great a shape as possible, but you have to be thinking depth there too as well. And there are some guys that could potentially slip to them for various reasons. So I do think, though, they'll come out of this draft with at least a couple defensive linemen, some edge, some interior guys, add some, like you said, they lose Milton Williams, they lose Josh Sweat. They let both guys walk away. They weren't going to pay them that kind of money. And Brandon Graham retires. You got holes there. You got to fill some vacancies, and you got to give them some opportunities there to give guys. This is a team that rotates their defensive linemen. Nobody's going out there playing 85% of the snaps, and that's not what teams do anyway in the NFL outside of Max Crosby. So you got to go. You got to beef them up and get some more talent. And I certainly think that's the way they go, and that's just what the Eagles have been doing. And more teams are probably, it's copycat league, Josh, and more teams are trying to. I talked to several front office guys at the combine and at the owners meetings earlier, or it's last month now, in Palm Beach, where they were talking about that Eagles method of winning in the trenches. And like you said at the top, it's not sexy, but that getting that ring on your finger, having that parade down Broad Street, I think that makes up for style points.
Talking with AP senior NFL writer Rob Maaddi here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on a Friday night. Rob, obviously one of the other questions about the Eagles has been Dallas Goedert. What is his future? Nick Sirianni, the most non-committal answer in world history a couple weeks ago at the NFL owners meetings. And then we have this report. Now, I don't want to call it a report, okay? It's more so you know what? You the one who works for the AP, okay? How about you define what this audio is? So Jordan Raanan was on his Instagram Live answering questions. Jordan Raanan used to cover the Eagles, now covers the Giants for ESPN NFL Nation. And he said this about Dallas Goedert. So I don't know if this counts as reporting, information gathering, but he was answering a question about will the Giants target a tight end in the draft at all. And this is what Raanan said, and he mentions Dallas Goedert.
Tight end's a position they look at for sure. As a matter of fact, I heard at one point they looked into Dallas Goedert. He sounds like a guy that's going to get traded at some point in the draft. Now, I'm not expecting Dallas Goedert to get traded to the Giants, but the fact that they checked in on it definitely made me scratch my head a little bit. Right, we're talking Dallas Goedert with the Eagles in a trade. He's probably going to get moved somewhere during this draft.
Multiple times, Rob, he says in there he expects Goedert to be traded during the draft. Now, again, I don't know if that qualifies as reporting or news gathering or whatever, but it's interesting to hear someone basically come out and be so overtly saying that.
Yeah, that's speculation, and a lot of folks have that same feeling, Josh. I think a lot of people feel that given some of the responses, as you mentioned, Nick Sirianni a few weeks ago, and the way the Eagles have talked about it, it seems like it's headed in that direction. That, to me, wasn't like, hey, 3 sources told me that Dallas Goedert's going to get traded. No, it seems like he's going to get traded, and if he doesn't get traded, he doesn't. I think there's that sentiment out there that the Eagles are probably going to – they're going to certainly – make some moves at the draft. They're going to answer calls if there's an opportunity to, and there's some tight end options for them in this draft. I did say trenches in the first round. I still don't think at 32 you go tight end, but there are a couple guys that could potentially be in that conversation. Definitely not Tyler Warren. He could be a top 10. I think I have him at 10. But there's a very strong possibility based on what it looks like things have gone with the Eagles and Dallas Goedert, that they're headed towards a potential breakup. Now somebody will cut that up, Josh, and say Rob Maaddi's reporting. I'm not reporting. I'm saying that's the thought process of a lot of people who cover the Eagles around the NFL. There's nothing definitive because you can't have anything definitive to say. It's not like the Eagles decided, hey, we are trading Dallas Goedert. Everything's got to work out the right way, and the pieces have to fall into place, and the draft picks being offered have to work out. And sometimes Howie makes a deal where he gets a player for a player too as well. So, but just to clarify.
And by the way, I'm not reporting either, but remember Harold Fadden Jr., who's one of the top tight end prospects in this draft, Bowling Green, the Eagles' new quarterback coach, is from Bowling Green. So
I like that guy at the combine. He was the one who said, yeah, I'm not trying to fit in. I'm trying to stand out or something like that. Yep. Yeah. So I like that kind of attitude.
But he's also
like
smart.
Comes in.
He's also, Rob, he's also smart because when on Up and Adams, when Kay Adams tried to corner him about his former head coach being the Eagles quarterback coach, he played it all off. Oh, well, he knows me and I wish him the best of luck and blah, blah, blah. He didn't take the bait. So he's savvy too, Rob. He's more than just a great athlete.
He'll need that in Philly. He'll need that with the Philly media. That's for sure. You got to be savvy. You got to know how to answer those questions.
Rob, speaking of the drafts, obviously your latest mock draft over at AP News. What I want to touch on with you is, so, most people have Cam Ward going number 1 at this point. So let's move past that. I want to know from you 2 and 3. Because it has been very vocal of Travis Hunter that he wants to play both ways. And he has basically said, don't draft me if you want one or the other. Well, 2 months ago, Andrew Berry said, well, we view him as a receiver. 2 months later, he's calling him a unicorn. He's comparing him to Shohei Ohtani. It sounds a lot to me, Rob, like Andrew Berry went from viewing Travis Hunter one way to another. So I want to know from you, do you think other NFL teams are doing the same, like the Browns GM, where they're saying, I viewed him initially this way, but now as I've spent more time on this, I'm understanding why this is a two-way guy?
Yeah, and I have him going to the Browns at number 2, and he certainly wants to do it. He wants to go out there. And it's interesting in that, Josh, there are some people who view him better at receiver and some who view him better at corner. And you would think it's like when you got a switch hitter in baseball, he's usually better from one side of the plate than the other, or he may have more power from one side, and the numbers bear it out, right? But in this case, it's kind of like, yeah, some teams feel like he's definitely a top-tier elite wide receiver. Some feel like he's going to be a corner. The fact that he's making it publicly known, hey, this is what I want to do, they're going to have to give him that opportunity. And when he gets out on that field and you're playing in July and it's hot, no matter where you are in training camp, I know it's going to be snowing in Ohio during the season or towards the end of the season. We saw Jameis Winston enjoy that. But it's going to be hot if you're playing both sides of the ball in training camp. And you're going to need a little bit of time off. You're going to need some plays. Like, he can't play. And when you look at a corner, a starting corner, they'll play 100% if they don't come out for injury. And a top-tier receiver will be out there for 80 to 90% of the snaps. I mean, that's a lot of football. And he feels like he can handle it. I don't know if he can handle it and then be elite at both positions. So at some point, maybe a decision has to be made on how much he plays at each spot. But while he comes out now, I do think there are teams who may have looked at him one way and like, well, based on and really who's looking at him beyond the Browns and the Giants, because I don't think he slips past 2 or 3. Patriots at 4 certainly would love to have him if he gets there, but I can't see that happening. So I think the Giants and Browns know that this is what they have to do if they have that opportunity to draft him, is give him an opportunity to play both sides of football and see how it works out.
Couple more for AP senior NFL writer Rob Maaddi as we are less than a week from the NFL draft. Of course, next Thursday is the first round, Friday is rounds 2 and 3, and Saturday is the full day where half the world doesn't pay attention, and people like Rob Maaddi are trying to keep up with who on earth just picked because someone else made a trade. So,
oh man, Saturday's my draft grade day, which I feel like I hate doing, but it's fun to do. But you're grading guys the day after, right? The third day of the draft, and like that blows up in your face real quick. Although I think I gave the Eagles an A last year, and that certainly turned out to be an A draft. So I got to go back and look at it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you all you can do is your best. Do your best and forget the rest. Okay, Rob? So,
absolutely, brother.
But to what I want to ask you about is Shedeur Sanders. So in your mock draft, you have the Saints trading up to grab him. And I feel like he has been rumored to almost every team from like 2 down to like 25 or whatever, right? And I want to ask you this because, Rob, you've covered the league for a long time. I think Shedeur Sanders is the most inappropriately and grossly misjudged prospect of my lifetime because there's a contingent of people who love him because he's Deion's kid and a contingent who hate him because he's Deion's kid. I don't think he has been graded by most people, not talking about you, but most people correctly because they are using the Deion Sanders factor as an agenda to project onto his son. And I can't wait for him to get to the NFL, Rob, because he'll finally be free of that label and he can finally be his own man.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation, Josh, and I don't disagree with you at all. I think like Deion is such a big personality. He's prime time. He's Deion Sanders. He's outspoken. He's been that guy for decades, and this is his son getting an opportunity to get drafted in the NFL at a position that is the highest profile position in football. And I think there are some old school people who may not like Deion's flashiness, his flamboyance, his outspokenness, and they project their dislike for Deion onto Shedeur. I definitely feel that there are people like that. And then there are those who love Deion and love to see what should want to see Shedeur follow in his dad's Hall of Fame footsteps. And you're right, until he gets into the NFL, he gets an opportunity to make a name for himself. And he should have already done that at Colorado. What he's done to put himself in a conversation where he's potentially a top 10, top 5 pick in the NFL draft, the face of a franchise. I have him going to the Saints, trading up, taking him at number 4 on a blockbuster deal, because what's a mock draft without a blockbuster deal? So I had to do that. But he's already accomplished a lot to even be at this point of his life. And from all the conversations I see him having, like I just, when I hear people who project some of that venom on him, I wonder what makes some of those folks happy, right? And I wonder what they want to see. Like, do you want to see guys who there's still so much kind of agendas out there, and people want guys in this era to be like the way they were, whatever era they grew up in or whatever era they thought was thriving. And we have to understand that times changed, everything's changed, people evolve. What guys did in the 80s and 90s doesn't work in the 2000s. What guys did in the 2010s isn't what they're doing in the 2025s. It's a different era. It's a different world. It's a different world in college football with the NILs and everything else. And you got to let these players go out there and be who they are. And I haven't seen anything from Shedeur that makes me feel like this guy deserves any of that kind of dislike or animosity or negativity or any of that. So wherever he ends up, whether the Saints do get him at 4, at 9, at 7, however it works out, if he ends up somehow in Pittsburgh or if he goes to the Jets, which I don't, there's even if the Giants still take him and let him sit behind Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, he's going to get that opportunity at some point to make a name for himself in the NFL. He did it in college football, and I'm excited to see what he can do. And like you, I feel like he can, and I think a lot of the negativity's been unfair.
Rob, before I let you go, because, I know it's the time of year where there's a lot of rumor and speculation. So I just want to give you an opportunity to just talk as Rob Maaddi, the guy who covers the NFL, not a guy who has to clarify 20 things. Is there a guy in this draft that you say, what, I don't care where he goes, I'm just looking forward to seeing what he does? Maybe not a top guy like the Hunters and the other guys, but is there somebody through the process of like talking to people or like doing your mock draft that you just kind of sat back and you're like, man, I just want to see what this guy does in the NFL. I don't even care where he goes.
Oh, I'd say Shador right there, but then Ashton Genty, man, I can't wait to see what he can do in the NFL. He's talked a great game, and he's talked about stepping into with a team and doing what Saquon did, and as a rookie, and just seeing some videos of him, like the athlete that he is, the ability to dunk a basketball. And I'm actually going to get some time with him on Monday. It was supposed to be today. We had to push it till Monday. So I'm looking forward to even having that conversation ahead of the draft. I would say CJ Stroud was a guy 2 years ago that I kind of felt that way about. And Ashton Genty is that guy this year. Like I'm really eager to see how much I think he can impact the team in a major way. Whether he goes to the Raiders at 6, whether he slips, whether another team moves up somehow and gets him, he would certainly look good in that star on the Cowboys with the Cowboys helmet. But I don't know that they can get up to get him. So he's certainly that guy for me that I'm really eager to see, because I can't say offensive lineman, I can't say defensive lineman. The quarterbacks are too easy. Running backs for me, and he's that running back. Now that Saquon's brought that position back to prominence, could Genty be the next?
He's Rob Maaddi at Rob Maaddi on the Twitter X platforms. AP senior NFL writer. Check out his latest mock draft at AP News. And, of course, he is the host of Faith on the Field, heard Saturday and Sunday mornings on 97.3 ESPN. Your guest this weekend, Jordan Love, Rob.
Yeah, Jordan Love. A nice conversation with Jordan. Really appreciated his time. And my daughters play flag football. He's doing some things with flag. They asked him some questions. He was very, very generous with his time. So one of my girls plays quarterback, and they blitz every down in flag. We're about ready to get out there. And she asked Jordan, like, what do you do? He's like, they blitz every down? Like, yeah, every down. So beyond the faith conversation, anything else, his answer on the chaos he calls, he's like, whenever the snap, like the ball is snapped, he's like, the next 3-4 seconds are chaos. Like, it's just chaos. Just think about that and what it takes to be a quarterback in the NFL and to process all of that information. But yeah, this is a big week. It's Good Friday. It's Easter Sunday. So we have our kickoff to our season 9 of Faith on the Field. New beginnings, Resurrection Sunday. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely love it. Rob, happy Resurrection Sunday to you. Enjoy the weekend with your family, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. And hey, listen, when it comes to the draft, my answer to the question I asked Rob, the guy that I am most intrigued to see where he lands, who's not one of the big names, Genty's a great one. Genty is definitely a guy that I think a lot of people are very curious to see what happens to him. I'm going to go a little deeper than that. And I'm going to go defense. And maybe it's because I personally, for those who don't know, when I was younger, I played a lot of defense. So I've always had a bit of a bias to that side of the ball. I am absolutely fascinated by what happens with James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. This guy is considered by many, if not the best, one of the best pass rushers in this draft. And he is a guy that I think is a boomer bust guy. I think that if he goes to the right team, he could be amazing. If he goes to the wrong team, he's just going to basically be a journeyman. And I think that he has the size and the athleticism that if he goes to the right team and the right situation, he could be a monster. And I've seen drafts with him going anywhere between 15 and 30. I don't know if he'll make it to the Eagles. He would be an amazing pickup for Philadelphia, but I think wherever he goes, if they utilize him properly. Because part of the problem with him is he's tall and long, but he's lean. 245 pounds on a 6'5" man, that's not ideal build for an NFL pass rusher, okay? You saw what the Eagles did with Nolan Smith. They basically almost redshirted him for a year, his first year. They basically said, hey, we're not going to play you a ton your first year. You're going to build, you're going to develop, you're going to evolve, and you saw the impact he had this year in the postseason when he had to step up. And so I think that James Pierce Jr., who taller, longer than Nolan Smith is, but the similar body type, long and lean, not a lot of power on that body. Can he put on a little muscle? Can he put on a little more on his body to blend with that speed and athleticism to make him a better power rusher? Because in the NFL, you got to be able to get to the quarterback multiple ways. Can he land with a team that will develop him? Because if they do, you better watch out, because this dude, he has freakish athletic ability. James Pierce Jr. That's the guy I'm keeping an eye on in this draft. Speaking of the draft, the Sports Bash NFL Draft Party is next Thursday at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. The Gallery Bar Booking Games is where you need to be, and right now is your final chance to qualify. Yep, that means this is your final chance to qualify. 609-573-3776. You are the final qualifier. 609-573-3776, where you have a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Eagles game this upcoming season. Club box seats. Also, you have chances to win an overnight stay at Ocean Casino Resort and tickets to shows at Ocean Casino Resort, but you must first qualify by calling 609-573-3776, and then you must be in attendance with Mike Gill next Thursday at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. 609-573-3776. The final qualifier is you.
Every choice you make matters. Winning or dining out, grabbing takeout from your favorite local spot, or shopping for that perfect outfit at a neighborhood boutique. You're giving back to your community. It's not just about supporting businesses, it's about strengthening connections and keeping your community vibrant. Town Square Media South Jersey is proud to shine a spotlight on local businesses that make our area special.
Shore Medical Center, healthcare at its best. Apex East Roofing, get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at apexeastroofing.com. The original Piccalilli Inn. Visit them on Facebook or at piccalilli.com for their pick specials. Nobody beats the Piccalilli, Route 206 in Chemung. Philly Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 at Egg Harbor Township. Visit phillymarble.com. Ambient Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning Professionals. When comfort matters, visit ambientcomfortnj.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-887-1010. 800-887-1010.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable. with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text EAT to 64,000. That's EAT to 64,000.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Piccalilli Inn in Shamong invites you for fun times in the Pines on the Pic Patio. Stop by for the game and order up their world-famous wings, an ice cold beer, or fun selection of fresh-made cocktails on a sunny afternoon or by the fire under a starry night. Skip the lane chains, get off the beaten path, and take the trip to the family-owned Piccalilli Inn this weekend. Route 206, Shamong.
If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, the final qualifier was Jesse in Galloway. He will be at the Sports Bash with Mike Gill Eagles draft party next Thursday at the Gallery inside Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Of course, if you are a qualifier, you must be present to win the Eagles club box seats or any other prizes given away next Thursday at the Gallery at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Also, as a disclaimer, you must be 21 or older to go there because there's a bar and it's a sports book. So, there you go. There's a little disclaimer at the end. Before we check back on the text board at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. I did want to touch on really quick about the draft because we haven't a lot of time to talk about the draft because I feel like the Phillies up and downs, the Flyers and Sixers end of seasons have kind of consumed a lot of our weeks this year. And I got to say, for me, the draft this might be one of the most unpredictable drafts ever because historically, if you have a couple quarterbacks who are considered like must get, right, by NFL teams, those guys usually dominate the conversation. The quarterbacks in this draft class, they're hit or miss prospects. So they're either going to do well or they're going to completely bomb because they're not the type of, there's no Mahomes, there's no CJ Stroud, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like those type of players, Joe Burrow, they're not in this draft. But there are players who, if you develop them right, they could be something. Look at guys like Tua Tagovailoa and Jared Goff. You give them one coach, they stink. You give them another coach, they're really good. I think that's the kind of quarterbacks in this draft. So that's creating this dynamic where there's not a consensus beyond a couple of players of who the best players in this draft is. And for me, I think that benefits the Eagles. Let there be chaos. Let there be disorder. Let there be confusion and people arguing, because the Eagles can basically let the draft come to them like they did a little bit last year when they had all the cornerbacks available to them in the first round. They took Quinyon Mitchell over Terry and Arnold and everyone else. Second round, they saw Cooper DeJean dropping. They went out and grabbed him. So it's the idea that Philadelphia can let some chaos happen in front of them, and it will benefit them in the draft. The other point I want to hit on, so over at 97.3 ESPN.com, I lay out for you guys why I think the Flyers have a brighter future than the Sixers. And it really comes down to two reasons. One, because the Flyers have much more draft capital available to them moving forward. The Flyers have more draft picks. They have more assets, we'll call it, to work with. They have more salary cap. They have more contract roster flexibility compared to the 76ers. And it's amazing that for two teams that have gone in completely different directions since the last time they both missed the postseason in 2017, that they are in this position. And I'm not saying the Sixers can't do damage and have a successful year last year. And I'm not saying the Flyers are going to win a cup next year either. But what I am saying is, as I explained in the article, don't sell the Flyers short, folks. Don't be the person who says, well, they haven't been in the postseason for 5 years. No. There is a larger reason why Philadelphia is in this position when it comes to the Sixers and the Flyers. Daryl Morey admitted he did a bad job at building this roster. On the flip side, Keith Jones and Danny Briere came into a situation where they have had to clean up somebody else's mess. And I would just remind folks that when you're cleaning up someone else's mess, it's going to take longer for you to turn it around. When you're cleaning up your own mess, like Daryl Morey is, that's way more complicated because Daryl Morey has dug himself a hole. Keith Jones and Danny Briere didn't dig their own hole. They were able to fill that pothole without having to fall into it themselves. And I think that is the huge difference between the Flyers and the Sixers. The Sixers, it's all dependent on the health of Embiid and George and putting the right pieces around them on the roster. The Flyers, they got cap space. They got draft picks. 2-3 years from now, the Flyers can be making a Stanley Cup run, and the Sixers are still trying to figure out what's next. Thanks to Rob Maaddi for joining me earlier today on the show. Coming up tonight is the NBA Play-In Tournament on 97.3 ESPN.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer